is Ms. Perez, and I'll be helping you through 2 of your Unit 1 discussion. If you've already done part 1, you've watched the video, you've kind of had a general idea of what reflections, rotations, and translations are throughout the unit. You're pretty comfortable with those 3 things. So for Unit 2, let's go ahead and just read the directions. A lot of these new discussions and activities, a big part of it's going to be reading the directions thoroughly, making sure you understand each part before moving on. So part 2, click on the link below to access the Google document. Complete part 2 on the Google document provided. See rubric for points. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's look at the rubric. So part 2, it's worth 5 points. Posts their response on a Google Doc provided. So you get 1 point for just reading the directions and knowing to post on the Google Doc. Shows or explains which transformations they use to get to Los Angeles. Well, we don't really know what that means, but we get a point, and it says in stars must have unique answer to receive credits. We get 2 points for that. So it looks like the teachers are really emphasizing your own answer. Don't try and copy. Don't try and get around it. Use your own opinion. Use your own ideas and be creative. You get 2 points for just using your own unique answer. Uses more than one transformation. In asterisk, must have unique answer to receive credit. So don't just use reflections, or don't just use rotations, or just translations. Try and use more than one. Okay, you get 1 point for that. Correctly makes it to Los Angeles. So notice we don't the right answer. You only get 1 point for the right answer. What we keep asterisking or starring is you must have a unique answer to receive credit. If you're copying other students, or if you get, maybe you get nervous trying to find the right answer. Well, we want to take that pressure off of you, okay? We're going to give you more points for trying and being creative and coming up with your own opinion and your own answers than we are giving points for correct answers, okay? So don't take that pressure off yourself of trying to get the right answer. Really try to just focus on what the question's asking and having fun with it, okay? So we've read the directions, we saw the rubric. Let's go ahead and click on the link. When we do that, it takes us to a whole new page. I will say, just to avoid that, maybe right-click on the link and click on Open Link in New Tab. That way you keep this page here so you can make a response. And then it brings you to a new tab. Okay, so here, part 2, again, read all directions. Directions, go to the next available student name and include your own unique explanation. See the how-to links provided for help. Okay, so let's read this question to get a little bit better understanding. Question your task, okay? So that's hopefully straightforward. The San Diego Chargers football team decided to leave San Diego, cry face, but now the Qualcomm Stadium is being moved too. Oh no. Use rigid transformations, which are reflections, rotations, and translations, to move the football stadium from San Diego to Los Angeles. Now, can you believe that they're taking not only did they take our football team, they took our stadium too. How dare they? But we're going to help them do it. So try to make this a little bit real world situation as far as, what's happening in, this year. Please double click the image below and check the situation out. Okay, so again, reading directions is really important. Let's just double click on the image and check the situation out. So here it says again, double click to enlarge image. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to double click. This large image pops up. So we can see San Diego is here. We have a reference point C. And we have Los Angeles over here. Our reference point is C. Okay, so we have to move this box over here using translations, rotations, reflections, and notice there's a line of reflection. So that's how you're going to use, if you do use a reflection, you don't have to, but if you do, this is how you're going to use it. You're going to use this line of reflection, and through your tutorials throughout the whole unit, you know what a line of reflection is. You've used the x-axis, the y-axis, so this is very similar. If you're unfamiliar with it, please contact a teacher or review your tutorial. Okay, so now that we know what the question is, what we have to do, we have to move San Diego over to Los Angeles, using our transformations. Now let's read through your tasks. Okay. Number 1, watch these how-to links to get an idea of possible solutions. So that's what I am here. That's what you're doing right now. 2, now come up with your own unique way to get to the Qualcomm Stadium using rigid transformations. Put your answer below. 3, have fun with this. Your grade is mostly dependent on effort and using your own path, not on a correct answer. Let's go down here. I'm Sandy Waves for right now, and I'm going to use a Google Draw explanation. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll, again, double click on this image. This is how you would do it if you want to use this type of explanation. You're going to kind of click on the image right here, and you're going to right click and click copy. Let's just go ahead and copy this image so we can use it in our explanation. So again, you just kind of like highlight it by clicking on it, and you want to right click, copy. All right, save and close. Down to here, let's pretend that this was all blank. I'm going to go ahead and put this blank. So now that I've copied my image, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the next available student name, which would be down here for you guys, but I'm going to put mine right here, Sandy Waves. I'm going to type in what kind of explanation I'm using. I'm going to say Google Draw. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go up here to Insert, Drawing, and New. And this will just give us an image kind of like this where we can double click it to make it bigger. Okay, so again, Insert, Drawing, New. Now we have the same kind of Google Drawing pop up, and this is where I'm going to right click and paste. And now I have the same image pop up. So now I can get started on how I want to get there, and you can use rotations, reflections, or translations. Just try and use more than one. Okay, so I'm going to try and squeeze in all 3. So the way I would do it was I would just use multiple shapes and kind of explain my route. Now you do have to explain it. You can't just put a bunch of shapes up here and expect a teacher to follow you. So you're going to use this shapes button. You're also going to use the text box. Okay, so I'm going to click on shapes, and I'm just going to click on this polygon right here, the rectangle. And now my cursor, my mouse, turns into a little plus sign, and that means I'm ready to go to make a new shape. So I'm going to just kind of remake this. Okay. And now we can decide what we want to do first. Do we want to rotate it? Do we want to, translate it? Do we want to reflect it out? Whatever you want to do. I'm going to rotate mine first. I'm just going to make it looks like it's upright, so I'm going to rotate it first. So if you want to do that first, you can do it first, but you just have to make sure it's something different later on. So I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Now to rotate it, let me back up. There's this little, let me move it over here for a minute. There's this little line with a dot, and you'd want to grab that and just move it any which way you want. And we're going to rotate it to the right, just so we can have that reference point C, right? C, if we rotate it to the right, it's going to be down here, right? Rotate it. Let's rotate it, and that's about 90 degrees, okay? Just say that. That's what we did. Okay, so I'm going to click on text box, and now I can make a text box anywhere I want. So let's go ahead and put it right here for now. Ooh, it's a big text box. Let's make it smaller. Make it that big. Okay. Double click. Okay, so I'll say rotate. And we'll just leave it at that, rotate 90, and maybe just put an R for right. So, teacher knows that that you've rotated it to the right. There we go. Got our first transformation. Now I'm going to, maybe move it up. So let's just go ahead and make another shape. We'll just, for this one, cover. And maybe you want to use a different color. So to do that, you'd go up to this little paint bucket and making it different color. And now let's move it up. You got to count. You got to be pretty precise here. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say I go up 5. Okay, it's not enough, but we can clearly see that. So let's go up 5. And let's make sure to put our text box in. Make sure you're using the right words, not just move up. Let's say translate up 5. Okay, and we'll put that in here. There we go. A little bit too big. So if you want to, get fancy with it, go ahead and highlight the text and make it a bit smaller. Right? Let's make it like 10. There we go. So let's move it over now. Okay, so I'm gonna get another shape, cover this one, and I'm gonna change the color to purple. I'm gonna move it over 1, 2, 3. And all I'm doing, guys, is I'm clicking on it and holding my mouse. I'm holding my finger down on my mouse. So I'm clicking on it and then I'm just dragging. I'm watching these corners move over from one corner of a box to the other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and let's go ahead and put that in there. Translate 8. We'll just put an R. 8 to the right. And I'm gonna make that a little bit smaller so it fits in my box. Translate, it doesn't really fit, but oh well. Translate 8 to the right. Okay, so now I'm going to use the third one, which is a reflection. Now, you don't have to use all three. I am, just so you can see how they work. You just have to make a unique example to get to Los Angeles, okay? So a reflection, what we know about reflections is that when you reflect over a line, right, it's the same distance away as what you originally started with. So since I'm one box away from this line, when I reflect it over this line, I am going to still be one box away from this line, from these two corners, right? It's the same distance. That's what you learn in your tutorials. So and if you want to get super fancy with it, go ahead and mark your reference point throughout this. So I'm gonna maybe just do, let's see, okay, so if we go over to this line right here, this little line, drop down menu, you can scribble. You can scribble around. So our reference point was C up here, and then we did our first rotation and it was down here. So it got moved there. And then when we moved it up, it was still on the right-hand corner. And when we moved it over to the right, it's still on the right-hand corner. So we still have C right here. When we reflect it, right, it's kind of like folding the piece of paper. It's, all these, this point and this point is still going to be 3 spaces away from the reflection line. So it's still going to be that way. All right, so when we reflect it, familiar reflections, I advise you to can kind of review a little bit or contact a teacher to give you some pointers. So I'm going to drag that over. I'm going to make it let's make it orange. Okay, when we reflect it, like I said, it's still going to be the same distance away from the line of reflection as the original, right? So this point is 1 away, so that means 1 away. C is 1 away, so still, let me click on my scribble again. C is still going to be 1 away. Okay, now I could go through some more. I could go, up and over and get to Los Angeles, but oops, my C would be in the wrong spot. So I'd probably have to, do something else, reflect it again, or whatever you got to do to get C, in the right spot. But like I said, what we're grading you on is the effort, the creativity, and using your own example. So that's what we're really looking for, is just, for you guys to have fun with this. So. But I'm going to stop right there. I didn't all the way get to Los Angeles, but I could go, up, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I could go up 3, then over 2, and then I'd be at Los Angeles. My reference point isn't where it should be, but let's see, I could have, I could have done another reflection over, line. Be super creative, and then I reflected over, and now my C in the right spot. Okay, so be as creative as you want, and to get this done, and but it's well worth it. We'll be very excited to see your guys' answers. Okay. Over. Okay, so once you're done, just go ahead and click save and close. And it'll pop up here. It's super big. I would really appreciate if you guys can go ahead and click on the image. drag one of the corners to make it smaller. And then you could, copy this if you want. That way, students um, uh, students can go ahead and know, oh, I have to double click on this to enlarge it so I can see your answer. We want students to look at other students' answers. I think collaboration is great. So, and actually, I'm going to click on this image and put it in the middle, make it nice and pretty. You don't have to, but it'd be nice. So this is how you'd use a Google Draw for your explanations. Not a whole lot of words, just a lot of creating shapes and moving them around. The next one is the written explanation, where you don't have to make so many boxes, but you do have to do a lot more writing. So whichever you prefer is perfectly fine. Please go to the next video, which is how to use a written explanation to solve this or to do the solution. Thanks for watching and hope this was helpful.